Hi, I'm Christie Clarkson, Marketing Specialist at Power Factors. Today I'm talking with Will Troppe, our Director of Product. Will has been with Power Factors since 2015 and leads our Asset Performance Management product line. Hey, Will, thanks again for being here.
Hi, Christy. It's good to be here again.
Last time we talked about what data trust is, why it's so important, and what trust looks like. One key takeaway was that trust is hard to build and easy to break. So, how do you build data trust?
To build data trust, I think it's important to recognize that different types of users build trust differently. Technical analysts, executives, and operations teams are all going to build trust in different ways, but they do share some pretty important principles. The four principles that I'm going to speak a little bit more about are traceability, visualization, repeatable reliability, and consistency. Let's first talk about traceability. What is it and why it's important? Traceability is about being able to trace data through the data pipeline. When I see a value at the end of the pipeline, I can trace it all the way back to its source in the field and any intermediary data jumps and remappings that have occurred along the way. Think about Microsoft Excel, where you have a cell that's a result of a formula, you hit a trace precedence button, and you can see all the upstream input values that result in the calculation and the result that you see. You can also see the formula in Microsoft Excel, so you know exactly what formula was applied to cause the value that appears in the cell to appear there. That's what data traceability really is. It tells you the input values, it tells you the formula applied, and it also allows you to trace data through the data pipeline. So I think that's data traceability for me. The second principle is visualization. Most users want to see the actual data point, graph, or scatter plot that causes a computer to come to a given conclusion or a recommendation. They don't inherently just trust the conclusion. They want you to prove it. And for many of our users, they want to prove it visually. The burden of that proof really is on us. So whenever we're running any types of advanced analytics or any advanced algorithms, we want to prove to our users visually what happened and why they should trust the results. Third is repeatable reliability. So especially in a world where your analytics are hinged on algorithms that are really, really complex, you trust the end results if you're rewarded for them every time you trust them, right? You trust what the system tells you this time because you trusted it last time, and when you did, you were rewarded for it, right? What that means is the system gave you a recommendation last time, you took it, you prevented an outage, you responded to an outage or a degradation issue or a soiling issue in solar or a yaw misalignment issue more quickly than you would have otherwise. And you're rewarded for it based on your job performance. You might even get promoted for it over a long enough period of time because you trust what the system tells you. Your success in your career should depend on your ability to trust your data platform. The fourth principle is consistency. Consistency is about your expectations matching reality regarding results, performance, and latency. So, for example, if you normally see events within the system within 5 seconds of their occurrence in the field, and sometimes that number jumps up to 5 minutes, that can be a huge problem because it can lead to a perception of false negatives. Something is going wrong in the field, and I don't know about it. I'll discuss false negatives a little bit more in our next video. This is why transparency around performance is so important. It gives confidence and trust through consistent results. Now, Christy, you asked me how you build data trust. One final way that you build data trust is through good documentation. The first rule of documentation is to reduce its need. So we want to design our products so that they are intuitive and easy to use and that we minimize the need for documentation in the first place. When you do need it, we want it to be embedded in the system directly. If I want to know a formula that was applied to result in a calculated value, I want to make it available to you right there in the product rather than directing you to some big document repository somewhere, right? So make it embedded, and I want to encounter it in workflow. The reason that this in workflow documentation is so necessary is that our users are busy. They are context switching all the time, every single day, managing stakeholders, managing priorities, on the phone with field operators, on the phone with analysts and asset managers who have to get reporting out to financiers. It's a really huge challenge. Our users are very busy. So the more we can do to ease their mental burden and help them translate between their different contexts, the better.
Thanks, Will. Look forward to seeing you in the next video where we'll talk about the roles time, workflows, and architecture play in data trust.